If your motorcycle could talk, it would probably scream at you for half the things you do to it. I'm serious. Most riders aren't destroying their bikes with high speed or crazy mods or track days. They're killing them slowly, quietly, and accidentally with tiny habits they repeat every single ride. And the worst part? You don't even notice the damage until the bill hits your wallet. This is Matthew from Autozium, and today we're breaking down the 10 habits that quietly ruin motorcycles. Not overnight, not dramatically, but little by little until the engine, the clutch, the brakes, or the electronics finally give up. Let's see how many of these you're guilty of. And trust me, I've been guilty of most of them. Let's get into it. Habit 1. Riding your clutch like it owes you money. Most riders don't burn their clutch during a race. They burn it in traffic. And the worst part? They don't even know they're doing it. The clutch is supposed to be a tool, something you use intentionally when you need to control power. But a lot of riders treat it like a stress ball. They drag it at red lights, feather it through every slow turn, slip it halfway through a hill start, and keep two fingers resting on it like they're waiting for it to comfort them emotionally. Here's the problem. Every second the clutch is slipping, the plates are grinding against each other. Friction makes heat. Heat makes wear. And wear makes your wallet cry. Most riders assume clutch damage comes from hard launches or wheelies. Nope. It comes from tiny, innocent-looking habits repeated hundreds of times. Stop and go traffic, creeping forward in queues, riding the friction zone for way too long because it feels controlled. If your clutch smells like toast after a ride, that's your bike begging for mercy. The fix isn't complicated. Use the clutch when you need finesse, then release it fully whenever you don't. Practice smooth throttle control, trust your idle speed, and stop using the clutch like a crutch. Your bike doesn't hate slow riding. It hates lazy, slow riding. Habit 2. Resting your foot on the rear brake. This is one of the sneakiest bad habits because it feels harmless. You're riding along, your foot is just resting, and you swear you're not pressing the brake. But here's the thing. Motorcycles don't care about your intention. They care about pressure. And the rear brake pedal is sensitive. Even a tiny bit of weight from your boot can activate it. What happens next? Heat. Lots of it. A lightly engaged rear brake gets hotter than a fully pressed one because there's no airflow to cool it. Over time, you glaze your pads, warp your rotors, and lose braking power without realizing why. The bike feels sluggish, smells weird, and suddenly the rear brake squeals like a haunted door hinge. Even worse, resting your foot on the pedal makes you think the bike is unstable at low speeds. Riders often fight mystery wobbling, jerky movement, or poor corner entry, all because their rear brake is dragging the whole time. The fix is stupidly simple. Shift your foot position. Keep your toes pointed slightly outward or upward, so you're nowhere near the pedal unless you intend to brake. Good riders don't ride with their foot hovering on the pedal like it's a panic button. They keep it ready, but not touching. You'll immediately feel the bike roll freer, turn smoother, and stop when you tell it to. Habit 3. Ignoring chain maintenance until it sounds like a toolbar's. A neglected chain sounds like death and costs almost as much. And yet, so many riders treat chain maintenance like something optional, a chore you'll get to later. Meanwhile, that poor chain is out there grinding metal on metal, stretching, rusting, slapping your swing arm, and chewing through sprockets like candy. Your chain is the final link between your engine and your wheel. If it's dry, it overheats. If it's loose, it smacks around violently. If it's rusty, it eats sprockets for breakfast. And every time it's out of spec, it puts stress on your transmission and output shaft. Two things you absolutely do not want to replace unless you hate your money. A dirty chain can steal horsepower, lower fuel efficiency, and even snap under load. And if you've never seen what a snapping chain does to a swing arm or a rider's leg, don't Google it. Trust me. The good news? Chains are easy to maintain. Clean, lube, and adjust. 10 minutes a week. That's it. Your bike will feel smoother, quieter, and more responsive instantly. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You can skip it, but the consequences are way more expensive. Habit 4, revving your bike cold like you're in a rock band. Cold engines are fragile engines, but riders love noise, and morning revving feels satisfying, like you're waking the beast. The problem? The beast is still asleep, stiff, cold, and unlubricated. When you rev a cold engine, oil hasn't fully circulated yet. Clearances between metal parts are tighter. Pistons and cylinders haven't expanded to operating temperature. Everything is basically running dry and grinding at high speed. It's like sprinting the moment you wake up, except instead of pulling a muscle, your engine scrapes microscopic metal off itself. Cold revving wears piston rings, scores cylinder walls, stresses valve trains, and spikes engine temperature unevenly. Over time, this leads to oil consumption, compression loss, and increased engine noise. Some riders don't hear the damage immediately, but their engine slowly gets louder, rougher, and thirstier. The fix? Easy. Start the bike, let it idle for 30 to 60 seconds. Gear up, then ride gently for the first few minutes. The bike will warm up faster under load anyway. No revving needed. Your engine isn't asking you to baby it forever. It's just asking you to give it a moment to wake up before you scream at it. Habit 5. Running cheap fuel. Thinking you're saving money. Riders love to argue about octane, but here's the real truth nobody wants to admit. Cheap fuel isn't cheap. It costs you, slowly, quietly, and in ways you won't see until something finally gives up. Modern motorcycles rely on clean, consistent fuel. Injectors are tiny, sensors are sensitive, engines are tuned tighter than ever. So when riders dump low-grade, questionable fuel into their tank, just because the price was a few dollars cheaper, the bike notices. Bad fuel burns dirtier. It leaves carbon deposits on your valves, fouls spark plugs, and makes combustion inconsistent. Over time, your bike starts running hotter, idling rougher, and losing efficiency. You'll twist the throttle and feel hesitation instead of response. And here's the kicker. Cheap fuel often kills injectors first. And once injectors start clogging, that's not a cheap fix. That's a why is my mechanic smiling before he tells me the price fix. Using the correct fuel isn't about performance flexing. It's about respecting the machine you ride. You don't need the most expensive option, but the right one matters. Your bike doesn't need premium every day, but it needs reliable fuel consistently. You wouldn't feed your body trash every day just to save $2. Don't do it to an engine spinning at 10,000 RPM. Habit 6. Leaving your bike sitting for weeks, then acting shocked when it breaks. Motorcycles are like people. They stay healthier when they move. The longer you let a bike sit, the faster things start to fail. And it happens quietly. No warning, no dramatic meltdown, just slow deterioration that only becomes obvious when you try to start the engine again. Fuel begins to break down in as little as 2 weeks. It absorbs moisture, turns acidic, and starts gumming up injectors and pumps. That's why your bike sometimes cranks, coughs, and refuses to start after a long break. It's not being dramatic. It's literally choking. Batteries? They hate inactivity. A sitting bike drains the battery slowly until one day it drops below the threshold and decides to die forever. Then you're jump starting, buying a new battery, or praying to the gods of electricity. Tires develop flat spots, rubber hardens, seals dry out, forks get crusty, rust forms in places you can't see. Even your chain begins to corrode internally. All of this is preventable by riding the bike once a week. Even a 10-minute loop around your neighborhood keeps fluid circulating, rubber flexible, and the battery alive. And if life genuinely keeps you off the bike, a fuel stabilizer and a battery tender are cheaper than a repair bill by a mile. A motorcycle that sits is a motorcycle that slowly dies. Don't treat yours, treat yours like garage furniture. Habit 7. Washing your bike the wrong way. Good intentions don't protect your bike from bad technique. And washing a motorcycle looks simple until you accidentally pressure wash water into your electronics, soak your bearings, or spray hot rotors with cold water and instantly warp them. A motorcycle isn't a car. It's a collection of exposed, delicate components. High-pressure water can slip into switchgear, connectors, relays, dash units, and your ECU. Even a few droplets in the wrong plug can cause misfires, intermittent stalling, or electrical weirdness that will drive you insane trying to diagnose. Then there's soap on hot rotors, a classic mistake. The sudden temperature shock can warp them or contaminate the pads, leaving you with brakes that squeal, pulse, or grab unpredictably. Trust me, nothing makes a rider panic faster than a brake that feels off. The right wash method is simple: low pressure, gentle rinse, microfiber cloth, mild soap. Avoid direct water jets at electronics, chain, bearings, and radiator fins. Clean your chain separately, never with high pressure anything. Your bike should feel refreshed after a wash, not traumatized. Habit 8: ignoring weird smells, noises, or vibrations. Every motorcycle communicates. The problem is riders don't listen until the bike starts shouting. A weird ticking noise, a burning smell, a vibration at a certain RPM, these are early warning signs. They're the bike saying, hey, something's wrong. Fix it now before it becomes expensive. A burning smell might be oil dripping onto a hot surface. It might be a slipping clutch. It might be an electrical short melting insulation. Leave it alone long enough and you're buying parts that never needed to break. A new noise can be a loose bolt, a failing bearing, a stretched chain, a cracked exhaust mount, or valves begging for adjustment. Vibrations, they're the most overlooked killer. Sometimes it's a wheel out of balance. Sometimes a worn tire. Sometimes loose engine mounts. Sometimes, and this is the scary one, internal engine wear. When you ignore these symptoms, you're basically agreeing to pay more later. You don't need to panic at every sound, but you must pay attention. Ride the bike enough to recognize what normal feels like. The moment something feels new, investigate. Your bike won't randomly fall apart one day. It gives warnings, lots of them. Riders just need to stop pretending they didn't hear them. Habit 9: running your tires way out of date. Tires are the most ignored safety component on a motorcycle, and ironically, they're the only part of the bike that actually touches the road. Riders obsess over horsepower, exhausts, suspension upgrades, and then ride on tires that are harder than stale biscuits. Here's the truth: tires don't die when the tread wears out. They die when the rubber ages. After about 5 years, the rubber compounds stiffen, grip drops, flexibility disappears, traction becomes unpredictable. Even if your tread looks perfect, an old tire behaves like plastic, especially in emergency braking, cold weather, or wet roads. And the most dangerous part? Old tires feel okay at normal speeds. You won't know how bad they are until the moment you need them the most. A sudden stop, a tight corner, a wet patch, a panic swerve. That's when the tire says, sorry, bro, I'm just here for emotional support, and let's go. If you see cracks, dry rot, or a shiny, stiff surface, that tire isn't aging, it's retiring. Fresh tires transform a bike. Better grip, better handling, better braking, more confidence. Think of it this way: you're trusting two hand sized patches of rubber with your life. Don't let those hand sized patches turn into stone tablets. Habit 10: treating your bike like it's maintenance free. A motorcycle is a machine that rewards attention and punishes neglect. Not instantly, not dramatically, but slowly, quietly, until one day something fails and you wonder, why did this happen? And the bike answers, because you've been ignoring me for months. Skipping oil changes because the oil still looks fine? That oil is the bloodstream of your engine. Once it breaks down, every moving part starts grinding itself to death. Never changing brake fluid, it absorbs moisture over time, reducing braking power and corroding your system from the inside. Ignoring coolant, engines overheat, gaskets fail, and you get repair bills large enough to make you consider selling the bike and becoming a monk. Maintenance isn't about perfection, it's about prevention. A well-maintained bike feels smoother, shifts cleaner, brakes stronger, and lasts longer. Neglect doesn't make a motorcycle unreliable, it makes the rider unreliable. And here's the truth: a lot of riders don't want to hear. Most expensive failures come from cheap, simple things that were ignored. A $20 oil change prevents a $600 repair. A $5 O-ring prevents a $200 leak. A $10 bottle of coolant prevents a $1,000 overheating disaster. Your bike doesn't need affection. It needs discipline. Read the manual. Do the basics. Stick to the schedule. You don't need to be a mechanic, you just need to care. Treat your motorcycle like something you want to last for years, and it will. Treat it like a disposable toy, and it'll disappear from your life faster than a bad ex. This is Matthew from Autozium, reminding you your motorcycle isn't fragile, but it's not invincible either. Fix these habits now, and your bike will thank you every time you twist that throttle. Ride safe, ride smart, and I'll see you in the next one.